show you filed for a religious exemption. Pick up the story from there.
Yes, well, my husband and I are actually both registered nurses, and we moved 1,300 miles from North Carolina to Maine to support and serve a rural community that badly needed nurses, and now we are both unemployed.
Good grief. Kevin, you're an ER nurse on Long Island, and you're seeing a swarm of medical workers fired over the vaccine mandate. Our healthcare system was already on life support, courtesy of government interference like Obamacare, and of course, a healthcare professional shortage. This just might kill the patient literally and figuratively, no?
Absolutely, and thanks so much for having me on the show. Right now, I'm getting messages daily asking for nurses to come in. They're offering overtime incentive. We don't have the amount of staff currently to take care of the patient load. And we hear hospitals that, oh, we're just firing 1% or just firing 2%. Well, some of the hospitals on Long Island, that's up to 120 people. How are we going to backfill 120 people where currently, today, if one person calls out sick, we put the department into a crisis mode because we don't have the adequate staff to care for the patients that are coming in. And that's something happening today.
Yeah, and it's so bad, and it's all over the country. Stephanie, I wanted to get you to weigh in on our Newsmax correspondent, James Klug, getting reaction on Biden's vaccine mandate. Watch this.
They should get vaccinated. You know what we should be doing? Instead of moaning and groaning about, I don't want to get vaccinated, it's my rights. It's your right to die, too. But it's not your right to infect other people. Well, we should
can't vaccinate people infect other people, though?
I don't know.
I don't know. The party of science doesn't know, science. Can you enlighten that man on the street there, Stephanie? Can those who are vaccinated spread the virus?
They absolutely can. And when our hospital had an outbreak, which was actually 2 patients in the hospital that tested positive, they started testing staff, and most of the people that tested positive were vaccinated. And they were asymptomatic.
Kevin, DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas says he's surprised to see the rise in China virus cases at the border despite thousands of unvaccinated illegal aliens that Team Biden is just letting in wave after wave after wave. Can you explain the science behind forcing vaccines onto Americans, but not to almost 2 million illegal aliens they've let in so far?
No, because there is no common sense behind that. There's no way to explain it. It makes zero sense why we're mandating vaccines for people who are just fighting on the front lines, but we're not vaccinating people that are coming across our borders. And it shocks me that somebody is surprised of a new variant of a virus. If you look at virology, we know that there are going to be new variants. If you look at influenza, there are new variants of this constantly. It's no surprise to anybody in medicine that there are variants coming along. And, I am pro-vaccine. I got the vaccine myself, but we have to make sure it's everybody's choice. We cannot fire much-needed healthcare workers who make choices off legitimate reasons to not get the vaccine and then just allow 10,000 people across the border. We don't have to test them and we don't have to vaccinate them. It makes no sense.
Now, we shouldn't be surprised that there's so many idiots in the Biden administration. That's all they hire. All they hire is unqualified idiots, all political patronage. Stephanie, as a victim of Biden's mandates, your family has been put in, as you articulated already, a pretty tough position. Well, tell us what's next for you and if there's a way folks can help you out.
Well, we sold our North Carolina home and moved to Maine. We bought a house 2 blocks from the hospital so that we could both work there. We are now stuck here, and we're in a rural community. There's nowhere else to work. The hospital is literally the largest employer in the region, and so we're not really sure what we're going to do. We're trusting in the Lord. I do have a GoFundMe page if folks want to help out.
All right, and quickly, there it is. We have it up on the screen. It's right there. Folks can see that. Well, I'm sure you'd appreciate any help the folks could give. Folks, we got some breaking news coming in right now. U.S. Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor, an Obama appointee, refuses to block New York's vaccine mandate. That I could have called that one. Kevin, as of September, the CDC reports that 180 million Americans have been fully vaccinated. But during that same time, they report nearly 20,000 breakthrough cases, including the most recent, Justice Brett Kavanaugh. How can Biden and his lapdogs in the press continue to get away with calling this a, quote, pandemic of the unvaccinated?
It's just not true. I have treated patients who have not only had first dose, second dose. These patients have had boosters, and some have even had the monoclonal antibodies, and we have still admitted them to the hospital because they can't sustain their own oxygen. This is multiple patients that I have personally treated. So this vaccine, while it does limit symptoms and is less likely for you to get the virus, it's not a perfect vaccine, and where you can't mandate someone it's not perfect yet. And there's so many breakthrough cases that I am personally seeing every day. I work in the ER, and these are vaccinated people. They can spread the virus. They're still getting sick. It has to be a choice.
Folks, right here on the Chris Salcedo Show, you see two medical professionals that we're talking to. The Health and Human Services Department doesn't have the guy at the top isn't an actual trained medical person of any kind. He's a left-wing politician. Kevin Surdy, Stephanie Grandy, thank you very much, guys. Appreciate the time you carved out for us. Still to come, thousands more healthcare workers are at risk of losing their jobs under